I wanted to share some things through the cloud because things are happening today that I was taught to look for and to watch for when I was a little girl. I'm 35 years old. That's according to the Gregorian calendar. And right now where we are heading is straight into hell. The 1,000 years has been lifted and loosened and unleashed. It's happening. If you flip that 2021 upside down, you will have 1707 minus the 0, you have 177. The 2s, if you put a line through it, it could be a 7 upside down. And you know, it's been 177 years exactly to the 2021 timeline that Mary Magdalene was born. She was born in 1888, circa. How do I know this? I know this by accident. I know this because I was following the tree of my family, of whose last name I have by birth, by certification. However, he's not my biological father, but I did call him Dad for 13 years, 12 really. And some things came out, broke out, can of worms opened to who my real father is, and it kind of hurt and put a strain on the relationship with whose last name I carry. Anyways, when I put that name back and just kept going back and back and back and back, it led me straight to Mary Magdalene's grave. She is and had been part of that family. I'm still researching, so I don't want to really say too much. Because at the same time, at my age, I am also just finding out about myself. It's been like I've been up under a rock for all of these years, and no pun intended, my real father's name just happens to be Rock. Anyways, with all of that said, I have like a whole bunch of information that I want to share with the world, with everybody. It's pretty interesting, and I think that it could help to bring back some faith into some people, maybe, to not be so scared, to believe a little bit more in the word belief, because frankly, you believe when you're a Satanist or an atheist, or people all day long believe. They believe in the cigarette that they're about to light up and smoke, and you believe in belief, but then speak out of your mouth, you have no belief. Words. It used to really upset me when my best friend, God rest his soul, who passed away in a freak car accident on his way to pick me up a day before my son's birthday. However, he would always say, words are just words. And it would make me so upset because words can't just be words. They have meaning to them. They're supposed to mean something. They have a power within them, and they're supposed to, because the tongue is the most powerful muscle. It's a powerful muscle, the tongue. And when we speak, we are letting out a rhythmic sonar ourselves, a frequency, a vibration, and it causes ripple effects. It actually causes ripple effects. And this is what creates like a karmatic event. And so with that being said, there's so many little coincidences that I have been experiencing, especially these last 4 years, and keeping it in mind that the beginning of 2017, I had lost 4 of my family members, and my mother, my stepbrother, my uncle, and then my best friend I was just telling you about with the freak car accident. They all passed away. I also had lost my job that I had for about 7 years doing insurance adjusting. So, you know, my world really did come tumbling down. Not to mention I was going through my own emotional sympathies and feel sorries for myself. And it could have been a worse path of destruction, except that wasn't the path I was meant to go down. And fortunately, I do have a conscience, not science con, but conscious, and I'm very conscious and awake. With my eyes open and with my eyes shut, I'm a very witty person, and I feel like I'm a pretty intellectual person, but I feel a lot. So you notice I just don't think, I feel, because in order for me to think, I gotta feel first. That's what triggers the thinking. But upon the trigger of the thinking, you have that intuitional feeling. So a lot of people ignore that, though, because they don't trust within themselves. And that's what we are supposed to do. We need to trust ourselves. We need to trust that feeling. And when that feeling speaks to us, it's speaking to us loudly, believe it or not. But we might hear it softly. We just got to listen more abruptly. And like Crazy Boris man says, the words are important. How he talks about ambition. We have to do the climate change. Ambition. The narratives are important to watch, to keep up with. There is always proof. There's always evidence. There's going to always be an experiment done by asking a question, a theory, a hypothesis, conspiracy that's just thrown into the mix in order to throw off the thesis and the question and the inquiry that somebody is asking. This is how we find things out. And frankly, none of us, we the people, know anything. Anything. We know anything. And there's so much that we need to know, because our planet and world is changing. Yes, it is. But you know, it boggles my mind that this anti-admin is literally blaming it on the people, but separating themselves from the people. When they talk about Biden, it's the president and the United States. Literally, that's separating the presidents from the United States, because these people don't care. I'm 35 years old, and I'm wondering why I am still looking at the same faces that I've been looking at since I was a little girl, watching the news, or, you know, what's going on in Congress if my mom or my stepfather is watching it, or... But why are these people still hoarding the White House, but then demanding changes because of racisms and words and labels that they themselves don't even believe in? they look at paper quicker and believe what's on paper to transfuse their own perception into what they want, and then to push that onto somebody. Is very manipulative, it's very demonic, and it's very vindictive. But that's how these people actually are, and that's what their motives are, their intents. They literally don't have that conscience to speak to them because they're moving only for them image of self. Now, yes, self is important, and self is number one. But in order for self to be number one, you have to balance yourself with number two. So when number two is another and other, just going out and interacting, engaging, pushing your energies and momentum and positivities forwards in good ways and not in any negative ways, you'll never know what will come in the future for you. But you never know what will come in the future and knock you on your ass because of all the negativities that you're putting out there. Now the peoples are starting to see. They're starting to wake up finally. The story has already been told, but the story is happening now all over again in the present. In the present of the future, we are now living the past. The past is repeating itself in a futuristic way. Modern times, they say. But they were calling modern times in back at 81. BC 1? I don't know, you tell me. Because to them, the calendar moves both ways. So, nothing is impossible. That's what I'm trying to say. It's more like I'm possible with the apostrophe and their apostasies. It's time that the people actually see what's going on, the truth. I just listened to this woman on the newscast and I couldn't believe what I heard. I heard it. The abomination of desolation. The abomination. Obama nation desolation. The O'Biden nation of desolation. You know, and what he was saying that this lady pulled from his term, from Obama's term, says it all. He says, and something about America. Hold on just 1 second. Let me actually play it for you guys.
Great sacrifices for the planet.
I can afford to give up a lot of my current lifestyle to benefit the planet.
Let me guess, Obama is prepared to stay in these modest sticks for the sake of humanity.
Now he's saying this at the G20 summit, that he's willing to give up and sacrifice his life.
Which will be built also on the site used for the 1980s TV show Magnum PI. As the magazine American Luxury outlined, the demolished building will make way for a custom compound that is planned to include 3 houses and a state-of-the-art security system. Because
make way for a custom compound? These people are literally pulling a genocide attempt on us. The evils, the demons, they're all rising up out of the earth. They were sent to EARTH, called Earth, as a scramble. And they scrambled here, but they were put into the earth to dwell in chains, while the heart, the HEART of the world, which also, if you spin it or twist it, has earth in there too. But the heart was placed on top of the earth with our feet planted as roots to the ground. And we are placed here as the light to lead. And unfortunately, as soul savers that we need to be to spread the good news and the word around so that people can see what is happening, and that Jesus Was Jesus then? Christ is the name that needs to be focused on, because the return is going to be Christ and be proven in numbers, in a mathematical way, and through a cloud that might not just be like the cloud in the sky, where they're going to and can trick you with their technologies. They got so much of it, they're not sharing any of it with you guys. They're not telling you anything. They're just trying to actually robotically change you with what they want to share with you. However, cloaking and all of that, it's all there. The hologram, they can fake the second coming. So numbers and math, important, go hand in hand. Coincidences are merely just a small miracle of the world working. There's no such thing. They tell you that. So pay attention to the numbers, because it's trying to tell you something to wake up to, because synchronicity is important. And when the mass and the people come together in mass to the one place that's the most important place that everybody should convert their energy and enter, we can change things. We can actually change things. But the way things are heading right now, we are heading into destruction. They know it. They're pushing it, and they're pushing it fast. While they're trying to push the destruction and trying to actually pull asteroids this way to destroy Earth, and they make their way out to Mars, we've got to do something, guys. This is not a joke now. The second rising, the second coming, that's already started. That started in Y2000. Y2K. Y2000, okay, because that's the start of the second rising and the start of the 1,000 years unleashing. So they have had all of this time now to gain all their minions, to climb the ladder, and to infiltrate the government as they have. And it all stemmed from putting the Obama into the White House. And as far as white and black is concerned, it's more than white and black. You've got to read between the white and black of the lines. It's more a lure of co-pilots, a co-lure. We are all each other's co-pilots, no matter the colors of our skin. But they are trying to lure us against each other because of the colors of our skin, which is because they change so many colors of faces and skin themselves. They do. They are not soulful people. And the ones that are still not soulless and that are seeking, there's no reason to fear. Atmosphere, at most fear. But where one go, we all go. And right now it's time that we don't fear and instead we accept, because the proof, all of the proof that there is something on the other side and an afterlife, and that something does exist, and there's something that is way true bigger than us, and just to accept it, when you do that, everything will change for you. Transformation will happen on its own in a natural way, and you'll feel it. It did for me. It happened to me. And I'm sharing it with you. I'm passing it on to you. It's time to snap out of it. Everything means something. Your name, your birthday, your birth time. And they play the numbers against us, and we got to take our numbers back. We need to synchronize ourselves in a mass, in a location. Like this song, me, or tell me your location. Yeah. The nation's capital, I am so disappointed with. Trillions of dollars. And for heaven's sake, there shouldn't be not one single homeless person that can call themselves a homeless without a place to go for a home, a roof. Shouldn't be. There shouldn't be not one. Because anytime that comes up and happens in somebody's life, as it did mine, when I lost all of my family and my job, and it was really hard. And you know, things cost money, and I'm very not an entitled person, and I come from a family that actually was very entitled. Like, I literally just spent 1,440 days living outside in a tent. That's 4 years. On the streets of DC, coming to the nation's capital, because I thought that that's the place to come to get the help. That's the resources, right? Nope. The way that this place has and does treat the people on the street, it really breaks my heart. It saddens me. These are the same people that are saying, here, I'm here to help you. And yeah, do you need an apartment and fill this paperwork out? And do you got these mental problems? Because if you do, then that definitely guarantees you for a place. But you can't just be homeless and not be homeless and not have mental problems, or just be sleeping on the street just because no, you must have a mental problem if you're sleeping on the street. And no, that's not true. I chose the street over the shelters. I tried the shelters. No, those are horrible places. When people are actually trying to get away from drugs and they're trying to change their life around, they can't be amongst the drugs and the choices of other people. They got to really focus on themselves, because to each their own. To each his own. To each her own, to each their own. But among ourselves, we need to pay it forwards. That's not to say in retrospect of monetary dollars, that green paper money. But sadly, that green paper money and them doll hairs is needed to do anything in society. However, when the skill is there and the buildings are there and the dilapidation of buildings is there and the TLC is there that can be given to rise and resurrect these buildings, then what is the problem? And why are we $27 trillion in debt and still don't have a place for the homeless to go? A homeless hotel. Idea. That's mine, guys. Don't steal it. But seriously, why? Why hasn't that been done? Why does it take years for a housing authority to sign off on a voucher? Why? It wouldn't take that person who's sitting her ass or his ass inside of that building or at their house, and they call themselves that housing authority employee. When they go out to go and search for their place and their roof, it's not going to take them years to get. No. They would be in their home, that roof, with shelter, within a week or two, maybe a month at the most. What is going on? Where is the money going? What is happening? Why are these people still out here like this? I feel horrible that I have spent just 4 years out there. These people berated me and my other half, who just so happened to be a brown boy, so badly. He's been out longer than me. Everybody we've been out there with has been out there longer than I have. Took me 4 years just to get into this place, and they're all still out there, been out there longer than I, and yet here I am getting my place. Now, I would say that that is something that is wrong. But you know, I brought a lot of attention to this when I was out there because it was breaking my heart so bad. I brought so much attention to this. People didn't like us. People was calling the mayor of DC, who claims that she wants to end homelessness, was her motto in the beginning of her running. But how ignorant is that? First of all, she hasn't even done a damn thing. What she does is she organizes teams and set up these little team members and calls them outreach that don't do no outreach or help. Seriously, they just go around to obtain a consensus on these people so that they can bring them back to the mayor, and the mayor can have her little officials look up everybody to see what their records are like and then have them watched by the police and harassed all the time. She literally entertains these calls when people or her constituents call and say, there's somebody that is sitting her ass too long on the sidewalk and I don't like how it looks and I need you to come and do something about it. The mayor literally entertains these calls. But then she yells, put an end to homelessness, and you can't put an end to something when you don't know when it's going to begin. When it's going to start. It's not like I woke up one day and said, well, I'm going to be homeless today. Yep. No. It's a trickle effect. Like, it literally can happen so quickly. And then you're looking around like, Jesus, I have no more family. I have not even friends because I haven't hung out with any of my friends since I was in high school. I'm 35 years old now. I just lost my job. It was just me and my boss. I have nobody to call. Where am I to go? What am I to do? It leaves me no choice but to go to a shelter. And then the shelter, they want to hound you for mental condition, this and that, and then put you onto everything with the government, get you hooked up with the government to push their... I don't even understand this for real because it's so appalling to me. Literally, the expansion, first of all, of the government has gone so absolutely absurdly too far. Every day there is an act, a bill, a law, something that's being pushed through, put through, and nobody is paying attention. Nobody is paying attention or looking these things up because they're so busy in their own lives, and that's okay, and that should be. But not all of this constraints and chains needs to be placed onto the people in a free America, if this is really free America. But you see, it's not, and it hasn't been. They've been fooling us, and they've been infiltrating the system and taking over the system since 40 years back ago, since actually 1789, when they said fuck 1776 and the Constitution, because when they first came over, they had to be what? Homeless. They weren't under the reign of the queen and the royalties anymore. They couldn't take that. So they come and find new lands. They hear about new lands. And they lived for as long as they could make it. You know, it's fun at first. You are on beaches and new land, and there's some trees, and it's a big forest, and there's a lot of animals, and you can kill. And then you come across people that are actually natives of the land. What? But, you know, across in Europe, they're hearing about it. Y'all are going 4 or 5 years. You're okay. You're able to do it. But then what happens? It gets a little more harder and harder and harder. Thought I was ready to die out there come my 3rd year. And all they kept telling me was my name was on a list. Like, is it just one list? And is it sitting somewhere? Like, is it like a list that's moving up? Is it like a piece of paper that's just sitting in a corner? You know, and how often does a list move up? Like, what list? And why is anybody on a list for years to get into a fucking place? That is absurdity. That is absolutely insane. That just goes to show that this is not working. Something's wrong. to have all of our people that are homeless in this world that are homeless, for anybody to have the audacity to even speak one bad thing about a homeless person who's sleeping with a tent, with a blanket, in a box, on the sidewalk, whatsoever, should be ashamed of themselves. They shouldn't be turning to hurt or harm or attack that person. Instead, they should be turning to the government, wondering what the fuck is wrong. What's going on? How is it that we just gave $1 trillion and we have not yet a homeless hotel or something that these people, when they don't want to go to a shelter that is like a dormitory run in a program that forces medications and mental shit over your head and the government onto you, these people need to be able to walk in freely, say, I need a place to rest my head and to clean my ass. And I got children with me, and those people should be able to say, okay, I got a place for you. Just as they hand keys over when they pay for that room with their fake monies. They should be able to hand a key to a cabin or a little unit or a little rinky-dinky even cell that they throw prisoners into, even for somebody to get a little rest, cleanse themselves, and to have that spot where they can raise themselves on how they, and all you do is just provide a little support. Not control. We are not here to control each other. But you know, you guys gave up. You guys couldn't handle it when you came over after 5 years and saying, woohoo, yeah, Europe, we don't need you no more. We're over here and we're calling freedom. And we're going to construct this 1776 declaration and you're going to sign it and you're not going to bother us no more and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But you know what came over is royalties and army men and military and all of that. So they already got the attitude and the ego of you going to listen to me or else. So when that starts to blow out of proportion and then more people starts arriving, things are just chaotic. It's help me Europe again. In 1789, it's, we're going to establish some sort of monetary system here, some sort of a federal centralized thing here. And it was already prearranged, not through the people, but through the governance of the governing itself, to establish the first 5 people who would be reigning in a presidency. Those people did not vote for the first 5. That was a pre-establishment in order to lay out the foundation. And then it would start bringing in and reining in more and more and more and more and more power. And the blood on the hands is so extreme. And you know, it just started to fill up and fill up and fill up and fill up, and it never changed. And still,